I'm going to play some nice gentle music and not too loud. So we're going to start off just by taking a few deep breaths. So just ground your feet into the floor, and with me, take a deep breath in through your nose. So breathe in and breathe out through your nose as well. Breathe out slowly. So we're going to breathe in to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. 2, 3, 4. A couple more times. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. 2, 3. One more time. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, and breathe out. 2, 3. Now give your shoulders a gentle roll forwards. And roll back. Now we're going to roll the shoulders back, breathe in, and look up. Then roll the shoulders forwards, breathe out, and look down. Nice and slowly roll back, look up, roll forwards, look down. Twice more. Roll back, look up, roll forwards, look down. One more time. Breathe up, roll back, roll forwards, look down. Fantastic. Shake it out. We're going to do a little twist, loosening up your back. Regular warm-up exercise. Let me just adjust this. So, little twist, nice and gentle, loosening up your back, letting your arms hang down, turn your head. Couple more times. Fantastic. Now I want you to bring your hands up and push up onto your toes, stretching up. Now we're going to just ground the heels down, take the hands back, bend the knees, and then push up again, up onto your toes. So we're going to try and get right up onto those toes, and then down, swing back, and push up. And just get a little bit of a dynamic flow. Don't go too fast, but just think about pushing up onto those toes and swinging back. We're going to do 5 more. So 1 and down, and 2 and down, 3, 4 and 5. Fantastic. Now that's sort of our warm-up. So the next section we are going to do similar to what we did last week, similar to what we've done in our warm-ups before. We're going to start with the chair pose. So what I want you to do is I want you to bring your arms up, breathe in, bend the knees slightly, breathe out, stand up, breathe in, and arms down, breathe out. So it's just a tiny little bend of the knees with your arms up, palms in together. Hold for a few seconds and then lift and bring the arms down. So breathing. We're going to breathe out. Start again. We're going to breathe in. And then we're going to breathe out. Then we're going to come up again, breathe in, bring the arms down, breathe out. So let's go through that sequence. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. A couple more times. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Find your own speed. You don't have to match my speed. You can go any speed you want. Fantastic. Let's do one more. One more. Breathe in. Whatever speed you're going, do one more. Now, have a little shake out. We're going to go back into chair pose. And we're going to do a little twist. So I want you to bring your arms up as you breathe in. We're going to bring the hands together. And I'm just going to bring the feet in a little bit closer. We're going to bring the chair pose by bending the knees. And then we're going to bring the hands down to one side of one leg. Okay, and then lift the arm up, taking the hands apart, and stretch up as high as you can, maintaining that chair position with the knees. Back down again, meet the hands together, take them to the other side, and stretch up. I can do much better that side than the other side. You'll probably find one side is better. That means you know which side to work on. And then we're going to bring the arms up and down. Let's go through that little sequence again. So we're going to bring the arms up into chair, do our twist one side, twist the other side, and then back to the neutral position. So, with me, arms up, bend the knees, back nice and straight. We're going to bring the hands down to one side, twist up, meet the hands together, cross to the other side, twist up, bring the hands together, hands into the middle, come up, and arms down. We're going to go through that sequence one more time. I need to take my watch off because it's restricting my wrist. So, breathe in, bend the knees, hands down to one side, little twist up. Don't worry how high you can get, it doesn't matter. Gradually, if we practice, we'll be able to get higher. My left side really isn't as good as my right side, as you can see. This side, a little bit better. Fantastic. So, a little shake out again. The next sequence we're going to do is called Sun Salutation. We're going to spend quite a lot of time today doing this. We started off last week, for those of you who did it last week, starting with the basics. I'm going to show you the full Sun Salutation routine now. So just for Richard's benefit, I'm just going to say that we're moving on to part 3. Sun Salutation. Okay, this is what we're on to now. I'm going to start off by showing you the whole thing, and I just want you to stop and watch this through, because I'm going to show you the whole thing, and then we're going to just build up the parts of this together. Okay, but it's good to know what we're aiming for, so I'm going to show you the whole thing first. This is the full Sun Salutation. Okay, but just watch for now because we don't need to do everything straight away. So I'm going to breathe in, breathe out. So our forward fold that we did last week. I'm going to come down into plank. The next phase that we didn't do last week is going to be the tricep dip and the upward facing position. From that, we tuck the toes under into downward facing position. We're then going to bring the feet in, stand up, and bring the arms down. So that's the whole thing, but what we'll do is we'll break it down into stages, and I'll get you to do one stage at a time for today, yeah? So the first one is the forward fold. So basically, we're going to bring the arms up as we breathe in, and then we're going to go into forward fold as we breathe out. And just hang there. Don't bounce it. Just let your fingers hang down. It doesn't matter how far you go on this. It doesn't matter if you're here, or if you're here, or if your hands are flat on the floor. I've seen people with their hands flat on the floor. I've seen people with their elbows on the floor on this one. But basically, we're just going to into the forward fold. And then we're going to stand up again and bring the arms down. Always finish off with this neutral position. Yeah, we're always going to come back to this position at the end. So let's do a couple of those, and then we'll introduce the next part. So we breathe in, arms up. We breathe out, forward fold. We breathe in, arms up. We breathe out, arms down. Now I'd like to get into the next stage straight away. So you need to be, if you've got a mat, you need to be on the end of your mat because you're going to take a big step back. So basically we're going to breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward fold. Down as low as you can. Then take a breath in and just release a little bit. And then breathe out. Bend your knees if you need to, hands on the floor, and walk back into our plank position. So for the first one, we're just going to hold that for a few seconds just to get used to it, and then walk forwards again and stand up, and then bring the arms down. Always finish by bringing those arms down. Let's do that through one more time. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward fold. Release the pressure on the back as you breathe in. Bring your hands up a little bit. And then breathe out, hands onto the floor, and walk back into plank. When you're ready, walk your feet forwards. Stand up. And arms down. How's that? Should we move on to the next bit? If you're struggling with that, with the walk back or the positions, just keep doing that. You don't need to move on. I'd rather you practiced the basics before you worry about moving on. Yeah. So if you're ready to move on, if you've done this before or you're comfortable with that, we're going to move on. This is probably the most difficult part. This is called the tricep dip. Okay, this is going to be probably a challenge for a lot of people. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward fold. Let your head hang down. Breathe in, release the back. Breathe out, hands onto the floor. Step back. Now what we're aiming to do, I don't know if you can see me, what we're aiming to do is bring your chest down towards the floor like a press up. Okay, that's probably quite difficult to hold for some people, but try that. If you can push up again, that's amazing, yeah? And then we're going to step forwards, stand up, and arms down. So basically, think of it in terms of a press up at the bottom of the move. If you struggle to get out of that press up, if you just collapse in a big heap on the floor, don't worry just too much just yet. We will get it. And it's important that we practice this. So, breathe in. You can go at your own speed. You don't need to follow me exactly. If you just want to get on with it and have a few goes, you don't need to follow my speed. I'm going to go down into plank. Now, if you struggle to get back out of this position, I don't want you to think about dropping your knees down. I want you to think about lifting your bum up and then pushing with your shoulders. Okay, so that's going to be our option to get out. and then walk forwards. Just have one more go at that before we move on. Yeah, we'll have one more go before we move on. That tricep dip, that little press up thing at the bottom, is going to be the struggle for most people. That's what we need to practice. Don't worry if you don't get it perfect. So we're going to progress this again. We are going to get through the whole thing today. So we're going to progress this again. And we're going to add in the downward facing and upward facing positions. So just watch me first and then we'll get you to do it. So make sure you can see me. Watch me first. And I'll just run through this. We're going to breathe in. Breathe out. Release. Breathe in. Hands down, breathe out, step back. Now from this lower position, we're going to push upwards and look up. This is our upward facing position, yeah? So from here, we change the feet position, we push back nice and straight, your heels don't need to touch the floor. And from our downward position, we're going to walk forwards. Little stretch again and finish the move. I'd like you to have a go at that now, please. Okay, so I'll talk it through. You don't need to see me, I'll talk it through as long as you can hear me, and we'll try and do the whole thing. So if you're ready, any problems we'll discuss afterwards. Yeah, so breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, release. Breathe out all the way down. Big step back, all the way down. Breathe in into upward facing position. Breathe out into downward facing position. Legs should be straight, head should be tucked in. Doesn't matter if your feet are off the floor. From downward facing position, if you can do one big step forwards, that's great. Otherwise, just walk it forwards. Come back into forward fold. Take a little extra stretch. You might get your fingers a bit closer to the floor this time. Come back up and arms down. I'm going to give you some time to go through this a couple more times, and this is your homework. This is the one I want you to practice. Do this. Well, you can do this every day or a couple of times a week, but this is the sun salutation sequence. Now we're going to do it through a couple more times. So if you're doing it with me, fantastic. Otherwise, at your own pace is fine. So breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward fold. Breathe in, lift the arms away from the floor. Breathe out all the way into plank. Breathe in, upward facing. Breathe out, downward facing. Breathe in, walk forwards. Breathe out, extra little stretch on that forward fold. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, arms down. Let's do it once again, all the way through. This will be the last one today. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forwards fold. Breathe in, lift up a little bit. Breathe out all the way down into plank, step back. Down into tricep dip, breathe in, into upward facing. Breathe out into downward facing. Step forwards. Breathe in. Breathe out. Forward fold a little bit further. Oh. Breathe in. Arms up. And breathe out. Arms down. Excellent. If you managed the whole thing, give me a thumbs up. If you found it tough, give me one up and one down. Yeah, it is tough. The sun salutation is probably, most of it's okay, but that little dip down when you're supporting your body weight on your arms, it is difficult for a lot of people. It will come with practice, I promise. It's worth repeating. Once you get into the flow and you do this every day, it's a really nice little sequence. Okay, so we're going to move on. Let me just, I think I need this down a little bit so you can see my feet. The next, we're going to do a standing pose now, standing pose. So we're not going to be on the floor for the next little bit. We're going to do what we call a half block. Okay, a half block is 1 foot forwards, 1 foot back, and the back toe is slightly turned outwards. Not fully out, that's why it's a half block. If your toe was all the way out, it would be a full block. We're going a half block. So your back foot is about 45 degrees. Okay, so that's our half block. Okay, now, keep both legs straight. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see me from the side. Both legs straight, back foot slightly turned out. Now, lift the chest. I'm going to take your hands behind your back and put your thumbs into your lower back and give yourself a little lower back massage with your thumbs. Turning your head upwards. If you've been gardening all morning, then this is really good just to get a little back massage. Just rotate the thumbs either side of the spine. Find those little muscles in there and just little rotations with the thumbs. Give yourself a little massage. Fantastic. Now, from this position, we're going to bring the arms up again. Palms facing each other. Now, I want you to go into that forward fold again, but this time with the offset feet. So you're going to bring the hands down. Some of you will be able to get your hands onto the floor, not me. And then we're going to hook one hand against the leg, a bit like we did in the chair earlier, and we're going to twist up. Get a little twist into your back. So this arm is, lower arm is against the knee, against the thigh, or against the calf. And the other arm comes up, and just look up towards your hand. Hold it for a few seconds. Now bring the hands back together. Bring the hands back up. Step forwards. We're going to take the other foot back now, do the other side. So take the other foot back, little step back, backward foot, toe turned out. Take your hands behind your back. Give yourself that little back massage looking upwards. Little rotations of the thumbs into your back. Oh, enjoy the feeling of having that little massage. Just little rotations of the thumb. Work your way around either side of the spine. Don't go into the middle of the spine. Just go either side. Then bring your arms back up again. Into our forward fold. This is where I'm coming unstuck because I'm too close to the wall. We're going to just shift across a bit. We're going to do our twist. So one hand by the side of the leg, other hand comes up. Try and keep both legs straight. We're going to try and avoid bending the knees at this point. And then bring the hands back together. Bring the hands up. And step forwards. So we're going to do the whole thing through a couple of times. Okay, once on each leg, yeah. So with the first leg, little step back, toes pointing out. We'll do a little back. We won't do this every time, but for today, let's do a little 10-second back massage with the thumbs. Legs are straight. Arms up. Forward fold down, hands together to the side of that leg, that front leg. Twist up, we're twisting towards that back leg. Remember to breathe. Hold for a couple of breaths. Hands together. Lift up. And step forwards. Let's do the other side. Last one. Take one foot back. Little massage. Oh, I like this bit. This is nice. Okay, arms up. Fold down, hands together. Hands to the inside of the calf or the knee. Big twist up. Look up towards your hand. Try and keep both legs straight. Hold for 3 breaths. When you've finished your 3 breaths, we're going to bring the hands together. We're going to come arms up and then step forwards. So that's called our half block. Okay, now we're just going to progress it a little bit. Really, we're not going to do the full thing today because I want to focus a little bit more on this next time. But I'm going to show you the lunge. Like, I'm going to show you the lunge, and we'll just have a couple of goes. We're going to go into more detail next week. I'm going to spend a bit more time on the lunge next week. Yeah. So, but for today, let's just give you a little practice and give you a little warning of what you're in for next time. The lunge. Feet are aligned, so you can see my toes are pointing forwards. We want to try and get that back foot as far back as possible. The heel will come off the floor. You do not need to push your back heel onto the floor. Okay, so this is a bit of a wobbly position. You might find that you feel a little bit unbalanced, but it's practice. You might want a chair to hang on to next to you for this. But I'm just going to quickly show you what we're going to do on the lunge, and then we'll put it aside for 1 week and do it next week. So back leg is straight. We're going to push the front knee forwards and come down as low as possible and bring the hands up. This gives you a really good stretch in your quadriceps, that back leg. Now, if you can, get your hands onto the floor, to the side of that front leg, and really think about pushing that front knee forwards. I hate seeing that arch in my back. Your back should be flat. We're going to bring the back knee onto the floor. Bring the hands up. Push up. Step forwards. Arms down. We'll do it once more on the other side, and then we're going to leave that for this week. It's going to get a little bit more advanced next week, that lunge, yeah? So let's just have one more go at it. It's a really nice stretch position. You take 1 foot back as far as you can. Back upright. Push forwards. We're trying to get your body as low to the floor as you can without bending that back knee, which is easier said than done. Now, you can take the arms up, hold that position. Push forwards with that front knee if you can. If you can get any lower, that's amazing. Take your hands onto the floor, either side of that front foot. Bring the back knee down onto the floor, and hands up again. From here, we're going to try and push up and step forwards. So, how was that? The lunge, it's a bit, the half block is one thing, the lunge takes it to the next level. So, your homework is to practice the sun salutation and the half lock, and then next week we'll go on to that lunge and we'll progress it a little bit further. But that's all I want to do on that for now, for today. The next section is going to be on the floor. Okay, so you need a mat or a towel. We're going to start off lying on your back on the floor. So I'm going to give you a minute to get to position yourself and get yourself ready. And you will just be lying on your back on the floor, on your mat or on a towel. So just take a moment just to get used to that position. If you're down on the floor, if you can't see me from this position, don't worry too much, because I think I should be able to talk it through. Okay, your knees are up and your feet are flat on the floor. Hands also on the floor, palms down just to the side. Take a couple of deep breaths. You can close your eyes. Relax. Now, we're just going to lift your hips off the floor. Push down on your feet, don't push down on your hands. And to the count of 4, lift your hips up. 2, 3, 4. We're now in what's called a bridge position, so hopefully you can see I'm in this bridge position. You need to think about clenching your buttocks and pushing your hips as high as you can. Don't push down on your hands. Hands are just going to rest there. You can even turn your hands the other way and move them out to the sides. Okay, so we're just thinking about getting those hips as high as possible. We're now going to lower down to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, push up to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and down to the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do that twice more, yeah? So, push up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down, 2, 3, 4. One more time. Push up, 2, 3, 4, and down, all the way down, 3, 4. Relax again. Now, we're just going to show you, I'm not very good at this one. I'm going to attempt to show you to get a little bit of an extra stretch. And so, depending on how your hips are, some people will be better at this than others. We're going to try and grip the ankles and then push up with your hands around your ankles. This is a little bit more advanced and not everyone can reach. So don't worry if you can't reach. If you can't reach, just keep your feet flat on the floor and keep your hands to the side. But this stretch will give you a little bit of an extra stretch through those quadriceps, the front part of your thigh. And then we can just lower down. And then push up. We're going to hold that bridge position. Hips nice and high. Clench your buttocks. Think about stretching up as high as you can. And release slowly down. We're going to do one more. Push up. And down. And release those ankles. If you manage to get your hands around your ankles, you can release them now. So while we're on the floor, we're sort of going into our stretches now. So it's going to be a little bit of a back stretch while we're here. I want you to bring your knees together, your feet together. Okay, and then we're going to rotate the hips so your knees come down onto the floor to one side. So allow one hip to come off the floor, keep both shoulders on the floor, and rotate your hips to one side as far as they will go. You're just going to be getting a little stretch through your lower back, little twist. Try not to let the other shoulder come up. Hold it for a few seconds, breathing gently. Now we're going to rotate and go to the other side. Hold for a few seconds. Take a couple of breaths. Obviously just go to the level that suits you. If you can get your knees all the way onto the floor, that's amazing. Both knees should stay together. And then come back to the middle. Fantastic. We're going to try and just have a little roll into a little ball, this kind of thing. So if you can get your hands around your knees and form a little ball, pull your head in, pull your knees in towards your chest, and this is just going to give you a little stretch into your lower back. So long as you're on a nice soft floor on a mat, you could do a little rock forwards and back just to massage your back. Any twinges or problems, I would ease off, but if you can just rock your body a little bit just to get that little massage into your back from the floor. Another 3 or 4 breaths as you stretch. And let your feet go back down onto the floor and relax for a couple of seconds. We're going to turn over now and do our cat and cow stretch, which we did last week, but if you haven't done this before, this is a really nice stretch for your back. So you do need to turn over and come up onto hands and knees for this one. Onto hands and knees. So the cat stretch. We're going to arch the back up like a cat stretches. That's why it's called the cat stretch. Let your head hang down. Make sure you just relax your neck. Let your head hang down in front. Arch your back as high as you can. Now we're going to reverse it into cow. Once you bring your tummy down towards the floor, bring your head up. Reverse again, back into cat. We're just going to go backwards and forwards from cat to cow a few times. Holding each position for 2 or 3 breaths. Trying to get that spine to flex either way. Concave, convex. Moving slowly from one to the other. I'm just going to do one more. And while we're on the floor, we're going to push the hips back towards the heels, sit back, and we're going to try and bring your chest down towards the floor. This is not good for me because my back's not flexible enough. If you can get your chest down to the floor, think about creeping your fingers forwards like little spiders walking forwards on the floor. Just using your fingers just to creep your arms away from you. Bring your chest down towards your knees if you can. And you should feel a nice stretch in your back. This is the point at which I get cramp in one foot with my feet like that. So if I start yelling, that's why. Hold it for a couple more breaths. Each time you breathe out, just try and go a little bit lower down. Very slowly and gently, come back up onto hands and knees. Walk your hands back towards your knees. Bring yourself up. Now, bring one foot forwards and stand up. Well, I'm not supposed to push down on my leg like that. That was bad habit. Very well done. That's our sequence for today finished. Just to quickly say, I thoroughly recommend that you do this more than once a week. Okay, this video is on YouTube and you can follow it. I particularly want you to practice the sun salutation. Okay, that's your homework for next week. Have a go, watch the video again. There's various other people on YouTube demonstrating, so you'll be able to see different ways of doing it. My way is, that's one way of doing it. There are different ways. We will also be developing it. There are other things we can add in as the weeks drag on and on. Stuck indoors. Let's hope for not for too long anyway. Okay, so thanks for looking. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm going to come over and have a chat with you now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.